नमस्ते स्टूडेंट्स, हमेशा खुश रहो बिटिया। आई एम डॉक्टर सुमन आहूजा, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर काय चिकित्सा डिपार्टमेंट, ज्योति विद्यापीठ विमेंस यूनिवर्सिटी. So I am going to take a lecture on chronic interstitial nephritis. So let me share a few slides with you. And going through few slides on chronic interstitial nephritis, we can easily get the points. So chronic interstitial nephritis is characterized by renal dysfunction with fibrosis and infiltration of the renal parenchyma by lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophages in association with tubular damage. So in this disease, there is renal dysfunction. So renal function abnormality with fibrosis and the accumulation of lymphocytes, plasma cells, and macrophages in the renal parenchyma in association with tubular damage. So let's see its pathophysiology. Disease may follow on from acute interstitial nephritis, which we discussed in the previous lectures about the acute interstitial nephritis that does not resolve. If the condition of acute interstitial nephritis does not resolve or may be associated with ingestion of various toxins and drugs or with metabolic and chronic inflammatory diseases. So this condition, chronic intestinal nephritis, takes place because of all these conditions. In many patients, CIN, that is chronic interstitial nephritis, presents at a late stage and no underlying cause can be identified. Genetic causes may underlie many of these cases. So toxins that have been associated with chronic interstitial nephritis include those contained within the plant Aristolochia clematitis, that is also called as birthwort, and these are probably responsible for the severe nephrotoxicity, toxic effect on the nephrons, that is nephrotoxicity, that can be associated with treatment with herbal medicines in Asia and for Balkan nephropathy, which affects isolated rural communities in Bosnia, Bulgaria, Croatia, Romania, and Serbia, possibly through contaminated flood. So, toxicity of all these things can cause severe nephrotoxicity, and that causes chronic interstitial nephritis. The nephropathy is commonly linked with tumors of the collecting system and is probably due to mutagenic effects of the plant toxin on the urothelial epithelium. So ingestion of mushrooms within the Cortinarius genus that cause a devastating and irreversible renal tubular toxicity. It is encountered occasionally in Scandinavia and Scotland. So in these countries, this can be emphasized. So causes of chronic interstitial nephritis. The acute interstitial nephritis is the commonest cause, as if this condition doesn't resolve, then patient lands up in chronic interstitial nephritis. Any of the causes of acute interstitial nephritis, if persistent, second is glomerulonephritis. A varying degree of interstitial inflammation occur in association with most type of inflammatory glomerulonephritis, immune or inflammatory. Next cause is sarcoidosis, Sjogren syndrome, chronic transplant rejection, systemic lupus erythematosus, or, and this disease SLE, basically primary autoimmune. Now, toxic causes Aristolochia in herbal medicines, as we discussed earlier, lead, Balkan nephropathy, mushroom, that is Cortinarius, and drugs. All drugs causing acute interstitial nephritis, as we discussed earlier slides in our earlier lecture, that the drugs like PPIs, NSAIDs, they are very acute cause of acute interstitial nephritis. So tenofovir, lithium toxicity, analgesic nephropathy, cyclosporin, and tacrolimus, all these drugs can cause chronic interstitial nephritis. Now, infection, consequence of severe pyelonephritis can cause chronic interstitial nephritis. Some of the congenital and developmental causes, vesico-ureteric reflux associated but causation not clear, renal dysplasias often associated with reflux. Inherited, now well recognized, but mechanisms are still unclear. And other causes are Wilson's disease, sickle cell nephropathy, medullary sponge kidney, that is nephrocalcinosis. Now, some of the metabolic and systemic diseases, for example, calcium phosphate crystallization after excessive phosphate administration, for example, phosphate enemias in patients with chronic kidney disease, hypokalemia, hyperoxaluria, that is passage of oxalate crystals in the urine. So, clinical features, most patients with chronic interstitial nephritis present in adult life with chronic kidney disease, hypertension, and small kidneys. Urinalysis abnormalities are non-specific, so there are no specific abnormality in the urine screening. A minority of patients present with salt-losing nephropathy characterized by hypotension, polyuria, and features of sodium and water depletion. People with chronic inflammatory interstitial nephritis have an impairment of urine concentrated ability and sodium conservation, which puts them at a risk of acute kidney injury, that is acute renal failure due to salt and water depletion during an acute illness. Renal tubular acidosis may complicate chronic interstitial nephritis, but is seen most often in myeloma, sarcoidosis, cystinosis, amyloidosis, and Sjogren's syndrome. Now, if we see the management part is supportive in nature with correction of acidosis and hyperkalemia, excess of potassium in the blood, replacement of fluid and electrolyte, because electrolytes, if there is salt losing nephropathy, then there should be replacement of fluid and electrolytes as required, and renal replacement therapy if irreversible renal damage has occurred. If patient lands up into the chronic renal failure, then the renal replacement therapy should be considered according to the condition of the patients. So this was all about chronic interstitial nephritis, its causes, its investigations, its management, clinical features. So I hope you are satisfied with the session, and this session was powered by Digital version 2.0, Jyoti Vidyapeeth, Women's University. If there is any query, any questions, please write in the comment box. That will be resolved. Thank you so much.